What really happens when you don't eat for 19 hours? Let's be real. The thought of going 19 hours without food can sound like pure torture, especially if you're used to eating every few hours. You might be wondering, why on earth would anyone put themselves through that? Here's the powerful truth. Fasting for 19 hours kickstarts an incredible process inside your body called autophagy. It's like your body's own internal cleanup crew, diligently clearing out unhealthy or damaged cells, even those sneaky pre-cancerous ones, before they can turn into something more serious. Believe it or not, you and I both have pre-cancerous cells floating around right now. But if they don't develop, there's absolutely nothing to worry about. But the magic of fasting doesn't stop there. It also helps to dial down inflammation, improve insulin sensitivity, and so much more. Today, I'm going to walk you through a detailed timeline of what actually happens when you stop eating. Explore why a 19-hour fast hits that sweet spot for maximum benefits, and share how you can embrace this practice, even if you're a complete beginner to intermittent fasting. Honestly, fasting can be tough, mostly because our modern lives have us programmed to eat whenever we want. We grab snacks at our desks, nibble in the car, and usually round off dinner with a little something sweet, just because we can. Most people are actually eating for around 16 hours a day, leaving only a 7 or 8 hour break while they're sleeping. Here's where the problem lies. Without a longer pause from eating, your body simply doesn't get the optimal chance to fully engage in autophagy and efficiently clear out those pre-cancerous cells. Constantly eating also keeps your insulin levels elevated throughout the day. And when insulin is consistently high, it essentially tells your body to store fat, not burn it, which can lead to insulin resistance. This is a significant driver for several types of cancer. It's a silent epidemic. 1 in 3 adults in the US are insulin resistant, and most don't even realize it. If you often feel tired, crave sugar, struggle to lose weight, or wake up feeling groggy, you might be experiencing insulin resistance. Even if your blood sugar levels appear normal on a test, you could still be insulin resistant. However, here's the good news. Insulin resistance is completely reversible, and intermittent fasting is one of the most effective ways to turn it around. Now, if you're a cancer survivor, I want to be crystal clear. I am not suggesting you have to fast to beat cancer. My intention is simply to educate people about natural strategies they can use to maintain their health and keep cancer at bay. With that in mind, let's dive into a detailed timeline of what happens inside your body when you go 19 hours without eating, starting right after you finish a meal. Whenever you eat, your blood sugar rises, and insulin is released. Your body then uses the sugar, or glucose, from that food for immediate energy. Around 4 to 6 hours after your meal, you've almost finished digesting everything. But not quite. You might even start feeling a pang of hunger, but your body is still busy processing that last meal. You're still in what we call a fed state. This means carbohydrates are still being broken down into glucose. Your insulin levels are still elevated, and your body is either using that energy or storing it away. If you're active during this time, that energy is being put to good use. But if you're lounging on the couch, your body will simply store any leftover energy for later. So even 4 to 6 hours after eating, you're still not burning stored energy. That's the crucial point here. Even if you feel ready for another meal after 4 hours, your insulin is still high from your last one, which means any kind of fat burning is essentially switched off. It's like your body is saying, we've got groceries in the fridge, why would we bother digging into the freezer? This is especially true if your last meal was a big one. As you can imagine, if you're constantly snacking throughout the day, or sipping on calorie-filled drinks, your blood sugar remains consistently high. It never gets a chance to truly come down between meals. And that's just not healthy. The real metabolic shift doesn't even begin until 8 to 12 hours after you finish eating. At this point, your blood sugar and insulin levels finally start to drop. This is a monumental shift. Because remember, when insulin is up, your body is in storage mode. But when it comes down, your body finally gets the green light to start burning your stored energy for fuel. After 8 hours, you officially move from using what you just ate to tapping into what you already have. This stored backup energy is called glycogen. It's essentially stored sugar, primarily kept in your muscles and liver. So, your liver begins breaking down glycogen, releasing sugar into your bloodstream to provide energy. However, at the 8 to 12 hour mark, you're still only at the very beginning of this metabolic switch. I know this sounds like a long time, but it's really not until 12 to 14 hours after your last meal that things truly start to happen. This is when your glycogen, or stored energy, really starts to run low. And when your body senses that, it finally starts turning to your stored fat for energy. It begins breaking down your stored fat into something called ketones. Now, listen closely. Studies are showing that most types of cancer cells can't get the same kind of energy from ketones that they do from glucose. Your normal cells can use them just fine. But most cancer cells derive very little energy from fat or ketones. You might be familiar with Dr. Thomas Seyfried, who suggests that the reason for this is that cancer cells have damaged mitochondria. This makes them heavily reliant on sugar or glutamine for energy above all else. This is why he strongly advocates for the keto diet, which is very low carb and very high fat. Essentially, it forces your body into a state of ketosis, where it primarily relies on ketones for energy, thereby lowering your cancer risk. I delve deeper into this in another video, which you can watch next. So, where were we? After 12 to 14 hours of fasting, you're finally burning through years of stored fat. And after 14 to 16 hours, you're firmly in the full-on fat-burning zone. But even more importantly, your body is finally saying, okay, it's time to clean house, and really start ramping up autophagy. By now, your metabolism has fully pivoted. Your body is breaking down fat into fatty acids and ketones for energy. And it's doing it all without you having to eat a thing. That's the true beauty of intermittent fasting. You're running on what you already have, without needing to cook or consume anything. This is also when many people start to notice a kind of magical mental clarity. Your brain absolutely loves ketones, so you may begin to feel sharper, more alert, and surprisingly energized, despite not having eaten anything for half a day. At the same time, your insulin levels are at rock bottom, and that's fantastic news. If you've been grappling with insulin resistance or high blood sugar, this could be the reset your body has been desperately needing. No sugar spikes, no energy crashes, just steady fuel. So, whether you embrace intermittent fasting to lose weight, reduce inflammation, or lower your cancer risk, it's around the 14 to 16 hour mark when you really start to unlock these profound benefits. Now, whether you fast or not, your body is always performing some level of autophagy behind the scenes. But it slows down dramatically when we're digesting food. That's precisely why fasting is the best way to significantly enhance autophagy. And autophagy truly begins to ramp up dramatically at the 17 to 19 hour mark. At this point, your body goes into full-on repair mode. This is cancer prevention at its absolute finest. So, if you're a cancer survivor, or actively trying to prevent it, the 17 to 19 hour mark is your golden target. However, if you can't go that long without food right away, that's perfectly okay. Fasting does get easier with time. But even if you can only manage a 14-hour fast, it's still immensely beneficial, and far better than nothing. Okay, you might be asking, how do we know that the 19-hour fast is so effective? Well, there have been fascinating studies conducted on Muslims during the month of Ramadan, where they fast for extended periods. Researchers took blood samples every few hours to observe what was happening at a cellular level. And what did they find? Lo and behold, the gene expression related to autophagy increased dramatically after the 17 to 19 hour fasting mark. This is when the body truly begins repairing itself, at a much higher rate. Beyond cancer prevention, this heightened autophagy means your brain cells are being repaired. Your muscles become more sensitive to insulin, and your inflammation markers significantly drop. So, a 19-hour fast can also be incredibly powerful for preventing conditions like dementia, diabetes, obesity, and PCOS, in addition to cancer. Something else these studies consistently reported is how people feel after regularly hitting that 19-hour fasting mark. They claim to have significantly more energy, less brain fog, fewer cravings for sweets, and they lose fat without sacrificing muscle. This is particularly interesting. Fasting actually increases a growth hormone that helps you preserve your lean muscle mass while burning fat. Truly amazing. At this point, you might be thinking, okay, all of this sounds incredible, but I still don't think I can fast for 19 hours straight. And you're right. It's not easy. And it's certainly not for everyone, especially if you're accustomed to eating or snacking late at night. Achieving a 19-hour fast means you might not eat until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, or even later the next day. During that time, you might feel hungry, lightheaded, and find your thoughts consumed by food. But this is usually only temporary. It takes at least 2 to 3 weeks for most people to truly adapt to intermittent fasting. But once they do, and they start experiencing these transformative benefits, They're often hooked. So, my advice would be to start slow, with a 12 to 14-hour fasting window, and gradually work your way up from there. It doesn't have to be perfect, and you certainly don't have to fast every single day. Just aim to give your body longer breaks between digesting food, so it can focus more on repairing itself. Of course, fasting isn't for everyone, especially if you have certain medical conditions or are on medication. Always consult your doctor first, to ensure it's safe for you to try. And if you can't fast, or if it seems too daunting, simply extending the time between your meals and snacking less frequently can still make a significant difference. It gives your blood sugar and insulin levels the crucial time they need to come down before you eat again, and that helps immensely. Ultimately, autophagy is like a built-in secret weapon we all possess to prevent illness. So, let your body do what it was designed to. I'm leaving you with another video to watch next on how to enhance autophagy without fasting. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.